Hello, my name is Matthew, and I just finished reading Mercier and Camier by Samuel Beckett. And from what I understand, this is his first post war novel that he wrote in French, and I believe he did his own translation back into English, which is really cool. Um, the reason I started reading it is I've been in a bit of a spell with Irish modernist writers and novels, reading Ulysses and then At Swim Two Birds. And uh, I really wasn't ready to tackle his great big trilogy, but I was in the mood for some Samuel Beckett. And this is a really interesting um, book. It's a bit of a curiosity. If you've read Waiting for Godot, the interesting thing is that this is almost a novelized version of the same premise, or a very similar premise. And Waiting for Godot, we have Estragon and Vladimir waiting around for this mysterious character, and they have their interactions. In Mercier and Camier, we have the again two vagabonds, but this time they're journeying. They're on um, uh, they're on an adventure. They're going somewhere, but we don't know where they've come from. We don't know where they're going, and of course, neither do they. And that's essentially the premise. They're on their way somewhere, and we're just following along, listening to these two characters interact. It's a great first opening line, which really pulls you into the mystery and strangeness of the world that they inhabit. Uh, the journey of Mercier and Camier is one I can tell, if I will, for I was with them all the time. So just a terrific, like omnipresent narrator. We have this first person narrator who's always there and never there. And one of the things in general that I just absolutely love about um, Samuel Beckett's style or sensibilities is he will get so precise in the details, the way that he'll describe an action or an object. He'll just become so exacting to the point of absurdity in the way that he describes something. And this is kind of multi layered because he also does that in a similar way with the premises of so many of his stories, where you push the bounds of absurdity as far as you possibly can. And inevitably, what happens is that you pop through into some sharp, close, personal, relatable bit of a true reality, real experiences, by pushing to the extremes. The idea of these two, just Mercier and Camier, carrying on this journey that they don't know why, they don't know where they're going, but they must. And there's absurdities and things that happen. But it's also the story of people carrying on through life. As long as you're alive, every day you're going to wake up and time is going to be pulling you forward until an inevitable, fateful end. Um, and then this is an example of the comical, exacting way that Samuel Beckett can describe situations. All we're doing is having our two characters meet at the beginning of the story. They have to meet and then they're going to go on their way. It's morning time. And they're going to meet at a precise time, but the first person gets there a little bit early, waits around, and leaves. The other person shows up feels like, oh, the other person isn't here yet, waits around and leaves. And they have uh, this back and forth where they keep showing up and leaving and showing up, and like ships in the night, they keep missing each other. And all of that is just excruciatingly described in detail, all the way to having a chart where we have timetables. So, as the reader, we understand exactly what time each character showed up at what time. Um, and we have other characters that pop in and out on their way, um, kind of comical foibles and um, unfortunate interactions with um, bicycles and just everyday objects. Um, One of the moments that I thought was so funny. At some point in the book, they have this. Some point in the story, they have this umbrella, an old, beaten, uh, worn down, basically ineffective, um, useless umbrella. But it's their umbrella. And these two carry on with this inane conversation. They even admit to each other that they need to stop talking. They have nothing to say, but they just can't stop talking. And they are standing out in the pouring down rain, or it's raining, and they're holding the umbrella and having this this asinine, ridiculous conversation about whether or not it's the appropriate time to use the umbrella. And what one says, well, we should use the umbrella. The other one says, why would we use the umbrella? And the other one says, if not now, then when? And it's just so absurd and tickles me. I find it to be quite funny. And something else which I've been thinking about because it came up in the at Swim Two Birds, but Mercier and Camier has these summaries where it says summary of the two preceding chapters, and then you get just extremely terse bullet points, um, almost like a plot outline. Whereas in At Swim Two Birds, it was comically done in a different way, where it would say, page 50, in case you're just starting here, I'll summarize what we've been talking about up to this point. And what I think is interesting is that um, it's relatively just a throwback to older novels. Um, there are many examples. What comes to mind is something like Candide, where you'll get an explanation of what's going to happen before the events take place. It'll say, in which Candide, has boiling acid dumped on his head or whatever. It also came up in Celestina as well, where you'll get the expositional plot before the meat of the story begins. And it carries on. It's ridiculous. These two characters are just as insufferable and welcoming and charming and funny and dark and stupid and smart as any of these Beckett characters. At the end of the book, there's something that is so cool, and I have to double check exactly what the timeline would be, but there's an estrangement. Um, they separate on these forking paths. Actually, before that, there's a hilarious moment where they're so exhausted that they keep passing out. Finally, they're just kind of tumbling, passing out back and forth. But anyway, there's after the estrangement, there's a reunion, and it's the character Watt. It's like a guest appearance or a cameo a character from another Beckett novel pops in at the very end of this novel. And there's also a mention of Murphy. So there's the novels Watt and Murphy. And I don't know if I'm going to go down this path, but it really now makes me want to go back and at least read Watt. And I can't remember which one is which, but I've read both of them. I would say if you're a Beckett fan, but if you're just someone that's had seen or read Waiting for Godot, this is a really interesting book. It has a lot of similarities, but it's novelized, and you get Beckett's extended, extremely terse but exacting prose. So Mercier and Camier by Samuel Beckett. There's a vagabond and a parrot. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know what you like by Samuel Beckett. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if you would like, and take care.